In this video, I want to go over some of the tips, tricks, and things that I've learned of dealing with countless business partners, some good, some bad, some ugly. But in this video, I want to answer some of the most frequent concerns as well as questions from my students about how to pick and work with the right business partner for whatever business that you're in. So stay tuned. Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to another video of mine. My name is Tom. I'm here in Vancouver, BC, and I've been building e-commerce businesses for the past 3 years. I've been documenting everything on this channel. If that's something you're interested in, then consider subscribing. So let's get right into it. I made a post in my FBA Masterclass community group, and I asked my students, it's not a terrible idea to find a business partner for your FBA business. I have a business partner for all my businesses. It makes the journey a little bit easier. I've had great partners and I've had really bad partners. I've learned a lot along the way. Should I make a video on this particular topic? If so, what kind of questions do you guys have? So I'm gonna jump right into it. Again, I've had great partners, good partners, bad partners. I've gone through the entire thing. And right now, all my businesses, I have business partners, so I have a lot to share with you. So the very first question comes from Brian. He asks, yes, please, how do you mediate a partner with 50%? What do you do when you butt heads? All right, so luckily for me, I haven't had too many situations where we are butting heads and we're exactly 50-50 and we just can't arrive at a solution that both of us want. So I think one of the things I've actually learned that was really interesting, I think it was by the CEO of Slack, who recently got acquired by Salesforce. So what they do is, let's say Brian and me, we're business partners. If we arrive at an issue where I'm on one side and you're the other, what this person did, the CEO of Slack, what he did was they both wrote down on a number of 1 to 10, on a scale of 1 to 10, how important this issue was to them. So let's say that, we're gonna go buy a camera. I really want Canon, you really want Sony, and we just can't arrive at which one we wanna choose. And we are gonna write down a number about how important is this to them. If Brian picks 7, I pick 8, then I gotta go with my option. So there is that's the thing that they use. For me, I've never really had to be in a situation where we just kept them butting heads to the point where we don't have any solution. I think in a situation like that, you really need to learn who's responsible for that decision. For example, the most important thing about a business partnership is that everybody needs to know each other's responsibilities. So if let's say it's a finance decision and I am not in charge of finance, but my partner is, I should probably, give him or her my opinion about this particular topic. But at the end of the day, the reason why I partner up with someone is because they're better at that particular topic than I am. So it's worth a discussion, but at the end, I'm not saying that necessarily just because I'm in charge of finance, I get to answer all finance questions. But I think it is worthy of a discussion, a civil discussion. So maybe you're feeling like, Tom, give me a straight answer. Like, what should I do here? I really feel like it really depends on the situation. Every single situation is so different. Partnerships and human beings are so dynamic. We're very unpredictable. And sometimes ego can get in the way. Sometimes, emotions can get in the way. So I think it really depends on the situation. But really, based on what I've seen the past, 3 years of me doing business, we just talk it out. At the end of the day, what is best for our business? And if not, you can always ask like other groups of people as well that you have, maybe that are doing similar things as you, right? So yeah, hash it out, I guess. I'm not sure if that's good advice, but that's the best one I got. So Sanita has a question and she asks, how to choose a great business partner? Okay, so that is obviously a very general question, but I think it's definitely worthy of discussion. It's a very important question as well. How do you go about choosing the right partner for your business? Now, there's a great book that I read, and it talked about how in every single business, there is the visionary and there's the operator. So take Apple, for example. Apple, we all know Apple, but Steve Jobs also had a business partner named Steve Wozniak, right? So the vision of Apple, the iPhone, this and that, was mostly from Steve Jobs. He was kind of the visionary. He stood on stage. He sold the product. He had all these grand visions that he conveyed to everybody. But on the back end, Steve Wozniak was his business partner, where they were actually building a lot of these things on the back end. Another example, everybody knows Warren Buffett, right? Not saying Warren Buffett is the visionary or anything like that, but he also has a business partner named Charlie Munger. So a lot of these people have business partners. Now, it is really, really important in your business, I truly believe, to know whether you are a visionary or you are a operator. Now, it's not like visionaries up here, operators here, or vice versa. It's just what you are naturally good at. For example, for me, I have so many ideas, guys. I have so many ideas. My brain's always turning, and I have an idea about this, idea about that. Most of the time, they're terrible ideas, but sometimes I land on a good idea. But I can't carry out this vision by myself. So I have a team underneath me that if I have an idea, I tell them about the idea, the outcome of the idea, then we together work on executing this vision. But a lot of times, they're actually doing the day-to-day work and in terms of operating, right? So that's one thing. But another thing is, before you jump into a business partnership, it is absolutely essential. It is absolutely essential to make sure that you and your business partner do not have skills that are too similar. So for example, in Amazon FBA, right? Let's say both of you hate PPC. Both of you hate doing marketing. Both of you hate doing negotiation and sourcing. But both of you really like product research. That's not going to be a really good partner. If you are really good at product research, but you don't like doing anything else, and you suck at doing those things, you should find a business partner that complements you, right? So you should find someone that isn't very good at product research, you are, but someone else who's doing things, who can do things that maybe you're not so good at, and the things that naturally you don't like to do, right? So in Amazon, again, in Amazon FBA terms, if you are someone who is looking for a partner, you need to know your strength and you need to know your weakness and find a business partner that can complement your weakness, right? That can help you with your weakness and you can help them with their weakness. On a basketball team, let's say you're forming your team and you're playing soccer. Would you have you can pick anybody you want. Would you want 10 different, 10 goalies? You probably don't. You probably need the best goalie. Then you got the forward, the striker, whatever it might be. I don't know my soccer terms, clearly, football. But think of it as a sports team, right? You're compiling the best sports team and you're putting people in different positions. Same as in business, there's different positions. The CEO, the CFO. Last year, I think, we hired Charity, who is our CFO. As much as she's an employee for us, I really look at her as a partner because I rely on her so much to do the finance things. She's very, very good at the things that I'm not very good at, finance. She can create spreadsheets and all these different things and models and this and that. That is what you want in a business partner as well. She's doing things that I have no idea how to do. And I know things that she doesn't know how to do. So that way together, you're a team, and that usually is the best partnership. Give you guys another example with FBA Masterclass. I know Amazon FBA. I support the students. I talk to the students. I create new content. I create new ads and so on and so forth. But my business partner on the back end, he knows internet marketing really well. So he's the one that's spending money on YouTube. He's the one that is creating systems. He's the one that is creating the landing page. He's telling me what to say in the ads. So essentially, he's generating leads. He's bringing in the students, and I'm taking care of the students. You don't want a business partner. So for example, in the past, I had a business partner with David from Ecom Hub, and by no means this is talking shit about David or anything like that, so please don't think that way. Him and I are still friends, we still talk to every day, and we actually have done both better after our business trip went separate ways. He's doing better in his course, I'm doing better in my course. It actually worked out really well. But what ended up happening with David and I was that both of us actually had two similar skills, and none of us had the internet marketing skills. So our course, Ecom Hub, actually never took off. So that's a perfect example of a good bond of partnership versus one that is not so appropriate. And again, David, if you're watching this, you know I love you. This is not about talking shit about partnership or anything, but it is what it is. So let me go on to the next one. How can we divide the work responsibility among business partners? And how does the whole decision process could be set for FBA business? So, again, very similar to what I said. What do you enjoy doing? What are you good at? Some people just are not good at negotiating. Like, they don't have experience. They're scared to talk to Chinese suppliers. Some people are not good at PPC. Like me, I hate PPC. I hate looking at data, spreadsheet, all that type of stuff, right? So it's really important that when you have a business, when you have a business relationship with someone, start dividing up the work. Like, what do you want to do? What do you like doing? X, Y, and Z. What do I like doing? X, Y, and Z. And at the end, to see if it overlaps. If it overlaps, it might not actually be the best partnership. As much as you want to be a partner with your friends, with your neighbor, with your girlfriend, boyfriend, if you guys are all just kind of like doing the same thing, it might not be the best partnership. For my business with Christina, she does a lot. But having said that, I'm mostly in charge of the Amazon FBA side of things, the marketing, the ranking bank, all that type of things, right? Especially at the beginning when I was a little bit more hands-on in the business. So yeah, that's that. So Michael has a question here. Along those lines, at what point does it make sense to outsource some of the steps in the training? You mentioned PPC in your training. How and when did you scale your business for help to include VAs, product sourcing, product research, etc.? Will be great to add maintenance module. So that's a great question, right? At what point should you start bringing in, VAs and this and that? Look, it all depends on your budget, right? If you have unlimited capital, start hiring right away. So it all comes down to how much money you have to invest in the business, how much you're willing to reinvest in the business. But one lesson I learned is that employees are actually not cost. Don't look at them as like expenses. Instead, look at people as, if you hire the right person, together you guys can make actually much more money. If 1 + 1 sometimes can equal to 5. So don't think of employees as like, oh, I'm adding an employee, that's an extra cost. You're right, if you hire the right person, that's a cost. If you hire the right person, then that's profit, that's revenue, that is growth. So in terms of Michael's question, I can speak from personal experience, okay? I think every business is different. In our business, we didn't start outsourcing anything until we hit like $100,000 per month. That's just for us because we reinvested a lot of capital back into the business, and we didn't really have any money to like go and hire someone. Our first hire was a customer service representative. I don't know why, like people just said, go hire a customer service rep, so I did. And they took care of a lot of the boring emails, and that's stuff that I shouldn't be doing anymore. I should be focusing on growing the business. The next thing, I believe, we hired a PPC agency, and then we hired an operations manager, then we hired a CFO. So slowly you hire. But I'll tell you one thing, I can probably do a separate video on this. When you hire someone who is better than you at that thing, okay? Hire someone with experience, hire someone who's hungry, hire someone who's a good culture fit. Anyways, that's for a different video. This is more about partnerships. So I would say that it really depends on the business, depends on your capital, and at the end of the day, you can definitely outsource the things that you don't enjoy doing. If you don't enjoy doing PPC, give it to someone else who's very, very good at it, right? If you don't enjoy doing sourcing, you can hire a sourcing agent. If you don't enjoy doing product research, hire a product research person. If you don't enjoy doing finance, hire a CFO, hire a bookkeeper, so on and so forth. But all comes down to your budget as well, right? So Dan asks, I've been wondering for a while how to go into business partnership with a friend, currently my best friend, and I want to launch an Amazon business together. And I'm not sure if it's easy to talk about money later or if it's good to have a contract set up saying front, say I get X amount and you get Y amount profit. Absolutely, you have to. Okay, guys, you have to set up a contract before you go into any sort of business partnership. Any business partnership, at least have it in writing. An email is fine. You don't need to go to a lawyer and draft up some shareholder agreement and pay them $1,000. Write it down in an email. hey, these are the things I'm gonna be doing, and these are the things you're gonna be doing. You know, things can fall out if expectations are not there. So, for example, I'm currently in a business partnership with my friend where we're trying to buy a building, real estate. I don't know anything about, this is a great example. I don't know anything about real estate. He is a commercial broker. He's been living and breathing this for the past 10 years. He knows the legal, how to do a roof inspection, how to, take down this, grab that. Like, I have absolutely no idea how that world works, okay? But when I first approached him and we talked, I can support a capital. He is also supporting the capital, but we're partners from that sense. I'm more of a silent partner and he's more gonna be more hands-on. But I didn't go up to him and be like, oh, I will do this, I'll do that, blah, 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 and then overpromise and never deliver. That's when tensions can happen. So when you go into a business partnership, make sure that the expectations are aligned and making sure that you know exactly where you're getting, what he's getting, what your role is, and what their role is. So make sure, for your question, Dan, like, yeah, absolutely. In terms of percentage of profit, yeah, you gotta write that down. Melody asks, what business structure do you have in place? Is it okay if mostly one does everything and the other just invests money in it? Advice. Absolutely. I mean, business partnerships comes in all different forms, sizes, and so on and so forth. If someone, just previous my example with my real estate, someone wants to invest the capital, but you really need to understand how to value that capital. So for example, if someone's like, hey, I'll give you $50,000, but I want 50% of your business. I don't know. I mean, if you give me $50,000 at the beginning, it might sound good and all, but once my business is doing $1 million and you're still, I'm giving you 50% because you give me $50,000 at the beginning, I don't know about that, right? That probably wouldn't make you feel too good because you're actually doing everything now and they're just sitting back and collect the money. So that's probably not gonna make anybody feel good. So maybe there's a different ways to get the $50,000. Maybe if they're just an investor, maybe you can form some sort of a deal where it's like, hey, I will, you lend me $50,000, I'll give you 10% interest on it. Or, hey, you lend me $50,000, I will pay you back the $50,000, and then from there you get 5% of my business, so on and so forth. Guys, capital is actually the cheapest thing to find and the easiest thing to find. There's so much money in this world. There's so many people that are willing to invest. Never give up too much money never give up too much of your business just for capital alone. There's the dumb money and there's the smart money. If someone's gonna give you money, you can give them a very small percentage of the business. If someone's willing to give you money and expertise, then that's a totally different discussion. If you want to learn a little bit more about deal making and so on and so forth, I recommend checking out Shark Tank. They have awesome episodes, and at the end, they make great deals. All right, Justin asks, how does it work when opening up an Amazon account? You mentioned you had multiple stores with different partners. Whose name do you use? Is this just the LLC account? But what if you log into multiple accounts with the same IP address? Doesn't that being risk getting suspended? No, I mean, it's not much of a concern. You can use anybody's name. So let's say me and you, Justin, we set up company A, and we're partners. And then I have another partner with Sam, company B, and then company C. That's completely fine. Amazon allows you to open up multiple Seller Central accounts as long as they're different entities, right? As long as they're different businesses. So there's no worries from there. You can use either your business partner's name or your name. Doesn't really matter. So David asks, if I open up an Amazon account with multiple people in the corporation, what happens if one of us decides to exit and start selling on their own? Well, that's probably something you guys need to discuss, right? You gotta put it into a shareholder agreement. Hey, what happens if you go off and you neglect this business and you just go off and build another business? You can have non-competes. So you can have an agreement in there saying, hey, neither of us for the next 3 years, we will not build any other businesses, other Amazon businesses. We can only focus on this one. And the other one is, well, you can go off and do another business. I can go off do another business, but we can't steal the product ideas that we have in this store. You can, let's say you're selling, I don't know, like cameras. You can't sell another camera in another store, but you can go sell, posters or whatever it might be. But usually that doesn't happen. I mean, it could happen, but I guess the other way, the more expensive way, is that you have to buy out that partner. But at the same time, partners have fiduciary duties to the company. If they're a business partner and these are the responsibilities and they're not fulfilling the responsibilities, then that's something that you can approach a lawyer with and say, hey, it's not fair for this person to be even in the company. I want this person out. And if you have everything in writing, you have a very good case there. So Diego asks, until which stage are you open to having a business partner? I mean, sometimes it's hard to have someone with you from the get-go, but once you start making money there, a lot of people want in. What do you consider the cutoff? At the end of the day, it depends on who that business partner is. Can they actually provide value for my business? Right now, if someone asks, for my example, right now, let's say this year, if my business is doing $5 million, some guy comes in and is like, hey, you want to be a business partner? I will be like, okay, what kind of value can you provide for this business? If they're like, oh, I'm, my first time doing Amazon, I'll be like, okay, no. They'll be like, oh, I built a $1 million Amazon business. I'll be like, no, because our business is more than. So what value can they provide to this business? Now, if my friend, for example, like Tony, he has built Vessi into a massive company, direct to consumer. He's like, Tom, you want to be business partner? Hey, absolutely. I'm not very good at direct to consumer. He is, and he can actually provide me with value. So it's not so much about if there's a cutoff or not, right? Don't think of it as very linear. Think about the person that wants in. What kind of value can they provide other than money? Guys, like I said, money is cheap. Money is easy to come by these days, okay? If you really want to find money, I'm sure you can find it without giving up equity in your business. But yeah, it's more about the value of the person and what kind of value can they bring. If I give this person 50% of my business, and right now I'm doing 5 million, but they can blow up to 50 million, hell yeah, right? Like that's an easy decision. But if you feel like they can't, they can't go up that much, then it's probably not a good business partner. But what you can also do in the contract to protect you is that it's a vesting. So let's say they come in, they're like, hey, I'll blow up this business to 50 million. Right now you're doing 5. What you can do is every 5 million in sales, you can actually issue them shares. So beginning is 5%, and then another 5%, and then another 5%. So that's a really good way to actually mitigate your risk as well. How do you structure the division of tasks and accountability? So I kind of talked about this. It kind of depends on what you're good at, what they're good at, what you like to do, what they're good at do, and then what they're good at, and then making sure that you guys divvy up the responsibilities that way. Any tips for family members being business partners? How to separate relationships? So look, I've been a business partner with my girlfriend for the past 3 years. I think generally speaking, depending on who you ask, it's going well. I was going to say it's going great, but depending on who you ask. Look, there's ups and downs, and sometimes we butt heads and so on and so forth. But at the end of the day, family members are great because you can trust them. But at the same time, again, it's not like as if just because they're a family partner, you should or you shouldn't. Don't think of it so much as linear, like black and white. Again, depending on who that person is, right? What kind of value can they bring? Do they have good work ethic? Are they willing to kind of be on the same wavelength as you? Like me and Christina, we worked really hard at the beginning, but let's say if I was complaining about how hard we're working, or Christina was like, oh, I don't want to work anymore. We're not on the same wavelength. So don't think of it as family member or X and Y or friends or boyfriend, girlfriend, grandma, whatever it might be. But are you guys a good fit with each other in terms of this business, right? Because you guys are building a business. Don't think so much about your personal relationships, but are they a good fit for this business? Be a little bit more transactional, if that makes sense. All right, the last question is here. Rob, I like to partner with my wife, but not sure how to navigate roles, responsibilities. Also, we probably bring our teenage daughter in on some parts of the process. Any ideas and thoughts will be appreciated. Wow, this is a truly family business. You got the whole family in here. I don't know about that. I don't have experience in that, but I can tell you about the wife part. So I think, at the beginning of our business, we kind of did everything. We really did product research. Christina found the product. Sourcing, both of us were in charge of that. The graphic design, I went out and found a graphic designer. At the very beginning, we did everything together. But as the business grew, kind of naturally, people I and her started falling into pieces. Hey, you're in charge of that. Hey, I'm in charge of this. Hey, I can do this. I like doing this, and so on and so forth. And kind of very naturally, we just started divvying up things and we took responsibility in things. But at the very beginning, we kind of did everything together. So I think that's great that you're doing it with your wife. I actually have met so many power couples over the past few years of doing this. Like, I'm talking about my friends who build businesses with their girlfriend, with their boyfriend, and they're absolutely crushing it. I'm sure there are also couples that are not crushing it and probably got a divorce or something like that. I have no idea. But I think there's something to be said about power couples. You guys spend all day together, you guys know each other well, you know who the boss is, you know who to listen to when shit goes down. So all these different things can come into factor, right? But I say, hey, just get it started, right? Get it started. And if you guys are wife and husband and you guys get a divorce because of this business, you guys probably not even meant for each other in the first place. So you can thank Amazon FBA or Jeff Bezos or myself for that. But I'm just kidding about that. But hopefully you won't get a divorce. But yeah, that's pretty much it, okay? So anyways, I hope you guys found this video helpful. It's a little bit long, but I think it's very informative. I think it's a very important topic to talk about. I think having a business partner is great. Having a bad business partner is not so great, but hey, everything in life is a lesson. You just forget it, learn it, and then move on. So give this video a very quick thumbs up, guys, and I will see you guys in the very next video.